Okay, well, I'm glad we're all here, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. It's good seeing you. Unfortunately, Kayla, our chair, will not be able to attend. Neither will Dr. David Cunningham, uh, nor will Vernon Mitchell be able to make it. And I think there was one other person. And so it really is just, oh, I'm sorry, Gwen.
One
So
more.
Gwen
Mhm.
Moore. So we're it. And we're the solid five. We're going to be here and do this. So I just want to give you an update on what's transpiring so far. We essentially have completed the working group reports, and things have gone well. I will share with you the public health and the education report, which I oversaw. And David Cunningham will share the two reports that he oversaw, the jobs and the economy and state violence. Then Kayla will oversee her reports, the neighborhood and health and built environment and housing. She stated that housing is going well, but someone needed some time to go over the neighborhood and built environment. I'm hoping that we can be able to do this in the next couple of days. We want to take time on the 17th of this month to submit you all the full reports. And we had thought about actually expanding this to include, um, um, well, okay, here's the issue. The state violence report is going to be somewhat delayed, and we're thinking we can weave that in into perhaps the neighborhood and built environment and the housing, so that we would have all those three. I think that would give us an opportunity to really highlight those three because they're so intertwined, as you can only imagine. And then we would have the separate reports: education, public health, jobs, and the economy. So that is proposal, because we're just simply we're running. Frankly, we're running out of time. We want to make sure that we have a product that could be presented to the public next month, since the final report is due in September. And I think this will help facilitate that, combining housing, neighborhood and built environment, and state violence. The reports are going over our plan limit of 5 pages, because there's with the exception of the state violence report, which is why we're combining them. But we felt that was fine. We're giving the public a really in-depth discussion, not too in-depth so that it's overwhelming, but just really the state of affairs for these areas. Give you a sense of what I'm referring to. The education report is 8 pages. The public health report is 8 to 9 pages. And the other reports are about the same length, 7 to 8 pages. But I think that they're well written, and they're going to be quite informative. So we decided to stay with that. So let's just talk about the next stage. Um, we've actually made some ground. As you know, we actually had the Corot Fellow, Rosa Parks, who actually synthesized a lot of the early information about our commission, took comments from the community and incorporated that into the kind of synopsis of where we are. This is, before we actually, frankly, started the in-depth discussions on the commission. So we have that background. With that exceptional background, we'll segue into the 5 reports, I'm sorry, 5 reports. And then we're going to move right into the recommendations. So we're going to try to get those reports, the 5 reports, to you as soon as possible, so that when we meet on the 17th, you will be familiar with the reports. And although the reports don't actually highlight or specify any recommendations, that's not the intent of the reports. You will be able to, all of us will be able to tease out frankly, what should be recommended based on these reports. And so it will, reports will certainly help facilitate it will help inform the actual recommendations. Now, regarding the recommendations, there's no limit on the number of recommendations we're going to make. But based on what we've read from the other states and municipalities that have been doing these recommendations, we can't be overwhelming. We can't issue 100 recommendations that no one's going to read. We should think about prioritizing based on these core areas, those recommendations that would really be impactful. And most importantly, absolutely most importantly, that would be implementable. We can make comments on what needs to be done, but if it's not practical, if it's not implementable, then it's just simply words on a paper that will go nowhere. So we're really going to talk about what's implementable, and we're going to highlight that going forward. So that's essentially where we are. I think that we could probably spend after the 17th. You have the core recommendations from the core areas. I think we should spend another 2 weeks really personally thinking about recommendations. And when we reconvene, oh my goodness, I left my phone. I can't, Delachey, I can remember the next date after the 17th when we're
22nd
22nd of
July.
22nd of, okay, 22nd of July. Thank you. That's when we're going to meet the 17th. Next week, we're going to meet and we will be talking about how to present this, and we'll be discussing recommendations. We're moving rapidly because, again, we're going to adhere to the timetable that was specified, given the fact that we requested an extended schedule, and we're not going to go over that. So that's kind of where we are. Any thoughts or questions so far from anyone?
I have questions. So if I'm understanding correctly, the report that the three of you all's working group has, the draft that the working group has put together that includes comments, which a lot of the fellows' comments from the meetings are also what we've captured as well as comments. So you don't need our group's additional capture of comments for the report. Is that what I'm hearing? You're going to just use what was included in the
So
fellows?
Delachey, yes, we will be using your comments. As I mentioned, the fellow Rosa Parks, I will never forget her name. Rosa Parks actually drafted a pretty good introductory statement, really incorporating some of those. Your comments will be added to that document that Ms. Parks produced. So yes,
Okay.
your work will be incorporated into that early on in the report. Absolutely.
And my second question, with us getting the draft from your working group, and so for us, for five of us, that'll be the first time we've seen it.
Yes.
So is the ask of us when we get it by the 17th to review it and then come to the meeting on the 22nd with our thought around it, because we haven't discussed as a full commission the who, the how, and those things. So are you all making recommendations within your report for that, or do you want us to come to the 22nd to discuss that as well?
Yeah, we're just the 22nd. It's going to be an open discussion. No one is going to be able to take these 5 reports and really get those synthesized and ready to act on those in such a short period of time. That's not going to happen. That's not practical. But you'll be able to read through the reports, at least glean through some of the salient comments in the report, and then we can come together and we'll say, you know what, uh, you know, there are some basic themes here that could culminate in recommendations, or we have to think about exactly, how, where, how much we can start that conversation. It's absolutely nothing. We're not anticipating having a discussion on the 22nd, which is going to result in anything formal. It's too early to do that. We're just going to be having an open conversation based on what we're producing thus far. If that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Despite all the, some of the pitfalls and vagaries of doing this, we're making progress, and I thank you, all of you, for really sticking with this. Because yes, we are indeed making progress. Now, in terms of having another public meeting, I think, it's my personal opinion, we should reserve that and just simply wait until all of us have synthesized this, maybe even have some preliminary recommendations, and then have an open meeting, a public meeting. That's for us to discuss. We don't have to decide that now, but we'll have time to discuss that in the next 2 weeks.
I think we do need to discuss that. I'm sorry, Dr. Ross, because our 22nd meeting is to be in person.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Our July 22nd meeting is set to be in person. With this meeting right now, this is just our monthly planning meeting that we have virtually, but our closer to the end of the month meeting, it is in person. And I thought we talked about having the July and we said July and September, but it sounded more like July and August would be in person to present this information to the community. But I also asked Vernon, Dr. Mitchell, to confirm when our actual end date as a commission is, because if it was 6 months out, that would put us early September. So we can't meet after that date. So we would have to do all of this in August.
Yeah, so yeah, it's we put ourselves into, there's a bind, it's a very short timetable. And so again, I'm just thinking practically. We're talking about everyone having, all the commission members having the full reports next week. And then perusing those and being willing to have something to share a week with the public. That's awfully assertive. That's a very aggressive timetable. Uh, I,
Well, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, I'm just I don't think we're going to be prepared to do that, Shay, frankly. I think
Well,
that's
I was thinking of the draft. If we, and I mean, I also hope the other commissioners on the call weigh in, because my thought was that we would see the draft report and share publicly certain pieces of it, aspects of it, but also in discussing the who, the how, that's also what I thought our public meeting was going to be around too. And maybe I misunderstood, but
you,
not that we would have a definite something, but that we would be discussing based on what was in the research. Where we
I'm
basically are
with
coming
Dealer
together
Shay. Yeah, I'm with Dealer Shay here.
because we haven't been
And
talking, our groups.
okay. Well, I think that we just have to prepare for that. We have to accelerate this process. And I am going to talk with David and Kayla tomorrow. The reports I did are complete. I think Professor Cunningham's report are complete. I think Kayla's is complete with one. We need to get those reports in your hand ASAP within the next 48 hours.
Yeah, if we could get them to, I mean, I don't even if at the very latest it's the 17th, but definitely earlier would be appreciated, but so that we can review it and then discuss it at that meeting
Yes,
on the 22nd.
I agree with you, and Kimberly, thanks for honing in and supporting. I agree with you. And so we have to get those reports in your hand within the next 48 hours. I think there's a time limit here. We can't go beyond that. So in order to have this effective public meeting on the 22nd.
So that would be by Friday then, by the 12th that we would have. Okay.
Right. So I'm gonna send a email to Kayla and David saying that this is a must. We
Okay.
have to have those in your hands by Friday in order to really follow through with our stated commitment to the public.
Okay.
Is that okay? Is that reasonable?
That
Sounds
works.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would give us time to review and then discuss in real time, and transparently have that discussion. Because we told the public that too, that we would present the draft to them. So I think that our 22nd meeting being set aside to discuss the points that you all raised from the research side, from the quantitative side of things, and us determine how we're going to format these recommendations.
Yes. Okay. I think that makes perfect sense. And I'm sorry that Kayla and David and Gwen aren't here to really help further this discussion, but I think that I suspect they would agree with you. So I'm certainly in agreement at this point. Okay, so that will be the plan. I appreciate that discussion, Taylor.
Thank you, Dr. Ross and Kim, for weighing in on that too. And so we have our August meeting, which would be, as of right now, we have that scheduled to be in person as well. But once we do hear back from Dr. Mitchell about when our end date is, that'll help us also with when we fully wrap.
Yes.
Because whether it's August, September, and then we kind of know that, we'll work with what we have there to know and stay on schedule there.
Okay. Okay. I agree. Okay. Well, okay. We'll get moving. I'm going to start moving quickly, as in the next 5 minutes. Okay. So.
Okay. I don't have anything else. I don't know if any of the other commissioners do.
Okay, good. We have a great plan, and we'll be talking with you. We'll be sending information to you as soon as possible by Friday. Okay.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks.
Good evening.
Good night.
Good night.